submit the registration slip to the zoning administrator at this time. Following the hearing, we will conduct our monthly business meeting, at which time we will vote on the applications. You may stay and hear how the applications are decided, or you may leave following the hearing. The applicant and the town board will be sent a copy of tonight's decisions. Any other person wishing to receive a copy of a decision can sign the sheet on the table at the front of the room. Those of you wishing immediate knowledge of the outcome of these proceedings may call the county zoning office tomorrow morning. The procedures will be as follows for the public hearing. After each application is read, the applicant, their agent, or representative will be asked to present their application, followed by any questions or comments from the committee. Then all correspondence will be read. Then others in favor will have a chance to speak. Anyone objecting will then have a chance to speak. I will then ask for a summary of the committee's field observations and the staff comments. Finally, the applicant will be allowed a chance for a short rebuttal if they wish. Anyone wishing to speak should use the microphone, state their name, and direct their comments to the committee. Because of the number of applicants tonight, I would ask that you keep your testimony to keep it brief and to the point. The applicant will have 5 minutes to present the information on their application, other than questions from the committee. Anyone else wishing to speak should limit their testimony to 3 minutes, and any rebuttal by the applicant should also be limited to 3 minutes. If you are testifying as a nearby landowner, please tell us where your property is located relative to the subject property. Tonight's hearing will be recorded, and the recording will become part of the record. Comments that are based on hearsay or secondhand information, as well as slanderous and prejudicial remarks, will be ruled out of order. The committee has looked at all the properties and recorded will reflect their observations. Any person affected by an administrative decision of this committee has 10 days to file an appeal. Such appeals are heard by the Board of Adjustments. Information and applications are available from the zoning office. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty as to the legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration date of the 10-day period. I will introduce the committee. To my far left, Joe Piaski. Oh, wait, far left, Rusalski, our Corp Counsel. I got a new person tonight. Joe Piaski, Larry Crawford, Fred Gallup, Bob Wadle, Terry Dopp Hockstead, Zoning Administrator. My name is Mark Kirshner. The first application that we will hear tonight is Stephen Maassen. Oshkosh, Wisconsin has made application for a zone change in accordance with sections 42-8, paragraph 2 of the Waushara County Subdivision Code and sections 58-131 through 138 and 58-481 of the Waushara County Zoning Code from an AG General Agricultural to an AR Agricultural Residential for the purpose of creating a total of 3 residential lots ranging in size from 4.54 to 11.62 acres, resulting in a minor subdivision. Location: a parcel of land being approximately 24.69 acres in size, known as lots 1, 2, and 3 of certified survey map 59999, being part of the northwest quarter of the northwest quarter and part of the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter, section 13, and part of the northeast quarter of the northeast quarter and part of the southeast quarter of the northeast quarter, section 14, town 18 north, range 11 east, town of Marion, Cree Road. If you ask me to read that again, I'm not going to. Is the applicant present? That's a good thing.
I guess I would suggest that the committee table it at a later date because you're not going to consider it.
Right.
But you can do that at the business meeting.
So
and I would remind you that we do charge to republish because we will have to go to another public hearing. So you're not going to have a date specific until we get a hold of Mr. Maassen and see what date he wants to appear. So now you get to read some more.
Okay. The next application that we will be hearing tonight is the purpose of a lake management district in the town of Hancock. In accordance with a chapter 33.1 1.26 of the Wisconsin statutes, the Waushara County Planning and Zoning Committee will now conduct a public hearing on the proposed information of a lake management district for Hancock Pine Lake in the town and village of Hancock. A summary and report of this hearing will be submitted to the Waushara County Board of Supervisors for their consideration in voting on the information of this proposed lake management district. This hearing will be conducted in the same manner as the previous applications. Whether you wish to speak tonight or not, we ask that everyone who is here tonight in regards to this proposed lake district fill out an application slip and hand them to myself or the secretary or Terry Dotpox, the zoning administrator. Then we would have an accurate record of your attendance. A Class 1 notice has been published in the Waushara Argus prior to this hearing, and individual notices have been mailed to the last known address of each landowner within the proposed district and to the Department of Natural Resources. The proposed lake management district boundaries are described as follows. All the part of the southwest quarter and the southeast quarter of Section 11, Town 19 North, Range 8 East, located in the village and town of Hancock, that fronts on Pine Lake and is bordered on the north by County Road V, on the northeast by County Road GG, on the east by Forest Drive or 6th Avenue, on the south and the southwest of Beechnet Drive, County Road FF, and South Oak Lane, excepting the following tax parcels. Tax parcels number 136-1154-0700, tax parcel 136-154-1810, tax parcel 136-1154-2410, tax parcel 136-1154-2400, tax parcel 136-1154-2500, tax parcel 136-1153-0100, tax parcel 136-1154-2600, tax parcel 136-1174-0920, tax parcel 136-1181-0300, tax parcel 136-1181-0100, and tax parcel 136-1181-0200. Did you get all that, Bob? No. Okay. We will begin the public hearing testimony as follows. I will ask the person or persons who are circulating the petitions to present their request, followed by any questions or comments from the committee. Then all correspondence will be read. Then others in favor may speak. Anyone objecting then may speak. I will then ask for staff comments. Anyone wishing to speak, once again, should use the microphone, state their name, and direct their comments to the committee. I ask that all testimony be kept brief, no more than 5 minutes, and relative to the matter at hand. If you are a landowner within the proposed district, please state so. Tonight's hearing will be recorded, and the recording will become part of the record. Following tonight's public hearing, the committee will record their observations and make a recommendation that will then go to the county board for their considerations. We will now start the public testimony. But first, once again, I'd like to remind everybody, if you haven't registered, please register so we know who was here. You don't have to speak or whatever, just we do need to know who was here for that. Now, if any other person who circulated the petition is present, you can come forward. The committee has some questions for you.
My name is Diane Guston. I'm the Hancock Pine Lake president. And the reason we are trying to set up a district is we have a very intense problem with milfoil on the lake. And the The last lake study, there was probably about 95% coverage. And that's our reason for setting up the district.
Okay. Committee questions, please?
Yeah, what is the percentage of the landowners in a proposed district that signed this petition?
Approximately 55%.
Those owners represent what percentage of the land in the proposed district? Those 55 signatures, how much of the land do they represent?
I believe there's approximately 98 owners out there. Some of these properties are owned by multiple people. There's one property that is owned by seven people.
This question is asking if you took all the land that you want to include in the district, do you know approximately how much land people signed to be in the district? What percentage of the total land area that would be in the district have signed to form the Lake Management District?
I would say 55%. Everyone was included in the petition other than those tax parcel numbers that were read, and that represents 8 owners that are on the dry end of the lake and have not had water in probably 30 years.
Did you verify every signature?
Yes.
Has anyone advised you that they wish to have their signature withdrawn from the petition?
No.
What is the proposed official name of the district?
Pine Lake District.
Who drafted the plat or sketch of the proposed district, and can you explain which lots are not to be included in the district?
The plat was gotten here from the drawing from the courthouse, and like I said, the only ones that are not part of this district would be on the village side, and there's about approximately 8 owners. I have a drawing of it if that would be helpful. It was submitted to zoning.
How do you come up with the proposed boundaries?
Everybody that owns lake property other than the village end was included.
How did you come up with a legal description of the proposed boundaries of the district?
That was written by one of the local title companies.
If the properties within the watershed are excluded, why have they been excluded?
As I stated earlier, they are excluded because they have not had water for approximately 25 to 30 years. And they're also not taxed as lake property.
Have many of the landowners within a proposed district expressed an objection to the formation of the district to you?
No, I haven't had one call against it.
Why is the proposed district necessary? You kind of answered that, but
Well, we formed a lake association, I believe it was in 2003, and we were successfully fighting milfoil for years with the association until it got totally out of control and there isn't enough money. And we need to apply for grants as well, and we've been advised that we have to become a district in order to apply.
how will the proposed district promote public health?
Well, right now, the lake is really not being even used. And the landing itself is pretty much non-navigable. Anybody that's ever driven by the lake the last couple of years, it's just a mess. So, you know, people will use the lake again.
How will the proposed district promote comfort?
Comfort,
To me, that would be the use of the lake.
I would say, just because it would be nice to be able to use the lake again, and right now, very few people can.
How will proposed district promote convenience?
Well, I think that's answered. You know, now it's a battle to get out, and if we had a treatment and the milfoil was gone, you would be able to use the lake again.
How will the district promote public welfare?
Well, there is a public landing there, and so, of course, then, you know, people can use the landing, and then that in turn brings people to the area that spend money at the local businesses.
How will the property proposed to be included in the district be benefited?
The benefit, I think, would be that the lake values will go up rather than decrease.
How will the proposed district benefit the lake?
The lake will be usable again.
Who are you recommending for your 3 initial commissioners?
I hadn't thought that far. I don't know.
You'll need to have 3 people as commissioners to start. When will we need that, Terry? Before county board? Actually, I think we've had it at this meeting before, so.
Probably should.
I guess
One-
one of the questions from before was, how are you picking the people to represent the district?
I guess we haven't thought that far. I don't know.
We probably would need some people's names.
I thought
County
that
board,
they were
it's-
appointed. I didn't realize that we were in control of that.
The only
Go
one,
ahead, you are.
the only one that gets appointed from the county's end is the Land Conservation Committee or the Land, Water, and Education Committee representative appointed by the county board. One of them, all of these questions I probably should explain come right out of the statute. So if you think we're asking kind of funky questions,
No, I understand.
it's what it says. You know,
No,
we
I
have to ask you these things, and I thought the comfort one was kind of odd too, but it's in there, so we do need to ask
No, I
it.
understand.
And it also says that you should come up with 3 initial commissioners, and 1 should be a resident
Permanent
of
resident.
the district, a full-time resident, not a seasonal one. So,
Okay, we can, some of the officers are here tonight, we can certainly discuss that. And, you know, if we can, we can get it to you before the meeting.
well, I think in the past, a lot of people have said because it's a lake association, they would appoint the officers because they were elected as the initial commissioners.
Okay.
And then you would get 1 more. Then obviously you will have elections once you start having meetings, and that can change. But that's usually the way it happens. So if you wanted to just tell us who the officers are, and if one of those is a resident, that would be good.
Well, myself and Kathy Stubbe is here. She's the secretary. And the vice president is Pam Coons.
And is one of those persons a resident a permanent resident on the lake? Okay,
Actually, both of us would be Kathy as well.
okay.
I know in one of the past ones that we formed through the county, that those people started the district and had the initial meetings, and then they had an election of officers. So then your Lake District would select their officers. But we do need those 3 names or so to start this. The county board approval level, we have to have someone That's
Right.
first.
I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't
Once-
realize
It
that.
doesn't make any difference. You can change them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Once
it's
you
just
have
something that
meetings,
we've
you
got
will-
for tonight.
Just the initial startup people.
and that's what most people do, because you have elected people from the Lake Association, then you start the Lake Management District, and they can easily change with the next round of elections.
Can you name those names again, Diane?
Um,
Yourself?
Myself and Kathy Stube and Pam Coons, K-O-N-Z,
Thank you.
Spell that one more time.
K-O-N-Z.
K-O-N, and the first name?
Pam.
Thank you.
And that's all the questions that we have on our sheet for you. Now, you can take a seat.
Thank you.
Submit this to them. That is a preliminary lake study that shows all the invasive species. I just got it before I came.
Okay, and what I've been handed is a preliminary study of Hancock Pine Lake that lists, these are all invasive species? No, some of these are natives. But some are. So, we will put that in the file. Yep,
Okay, correspondence?
we have no correspondence.
Anyone in favor or to object?
Yes, we already heard from Diane Guston, and we have these to speak in favor.
Larry Monroe.
I'm Larry Monroe, representing the Village of Hancock, and we are in favor of this Pine Lake District. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. John Cirque?
I'm John Cirque. I'm Secretary of the Fish Lake Management District at Hancock, and am speaking on behalf of our board. We strongly are in favor of this. We've been in communication with Diane on getting their district established, primarily because of the milfoil problem in Pine Lake or Hancock Lake, which comes into Fish Lake. And we've spent thousands of dollars through a DNR grant and obviously from our own taxpayer base to control this. And we're committed to helping the Pine Lake District if you deem it so, to get this thing underway and get it going, and primarily because the DNR is aggressively after the invasive species. They don't have the manpower, but they do have the money, and there's a 75-25 grant that we're running under, and we have committed as a board to help Pine Lake Management District go after that grant to treat their lake, because what goes on in their lake comes to our lake, and as most of you know, there's only a road separating it. So just from the Fish Lake Management District standpoint, we strongly endorse the formation of this new lake district, and we'll do what we have to accommodate that district and move things forward.
Thank you, John. Mike Zackrell?
Hi, my wife and I are property owners on Pine Lake. We own 2 year-round homes, and we've seen the milfoil degrade the usability of the lake, the way it looks, and it's the ability of the people on it to fish there. We've been living on the lake since 2005, and we did see the lake be treated for the milfoil, and the stuff disappeared, and the bass showed up, and life was really good. There was a couple little spots that weren't covered, and the stuff grew back from that. And we're very much in favor of this. I can't state any stronger than that we really would like to see the people of the lake work together for the improvement of everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Julie Zackrell? Okay.
Yep, these are people that registered in favor but
Favor
did
not to
not wish
speak.
to speak. Just wave your hand so everybody can tell you're here.
Deborah Monroe? Catherine Stube. Michael Guston. Anyone objecting?
Nope.
Staff comments, please.
As I stated earlier, this is a procedure that is governed by state statutes in order to establish a lake management district. A lake management district has more responsibilities and rights than just a lake association. One of them is that they do have taxing authority, and then they are able to apply for grants too. So part of it is the financial aspect, but I also think that it certainly behooves people to do that if they want to improve conditions on their lake. And generally, water quality issues, invasive species, plant growth, management of those kind of things, and management at the landings of the public usage is certainly reasons to form a management district and ask this committee to make a recommendation to the county board. The county board ultimately decides. They just chose this committee to hold the public hearing because we hold public hearings all the time. So this will, their recommendation when they consider this at the business meeting will then go to the county board next month. That's it.
Okay.
And then I noticed that our first applicant did arrive. So if you want to go back and allow him to.
It's already been read into the record, so we have to.
Yeah.
The first applicant, Stephen Mawson. Would you come forward, please? State your name for the record.
Stephen Mawson.
We've already read your information into the record because you were the first applicant. And so can you give us a little information what you want to do, Steve?
Well, as I said in the narrative, I have some lots in a CSM that are somewhat, one of them is shaped like a tadpole, and it started out that way because of the 15-acre setup, and I was able to get some more land on the road so then I could take the tail off the tadpole and share with the other lots, and they just look better. I mean, it's more square lots that way. So just a matter of trying to make it, more sensible design to the CSM.
Okay. The committee has a few questions they want to ask you, Steve. Committee questions, please?
Yeah, has there been a property been surveyed, or do you know where your lot lines are?
Yeah, the Mo did survey on the area. And so we have official survey of what the new would look like and the old looks like. Yeah.
Has there been a primary soil work done?
Yes, that was done this week. And did they get the information to you in time? Yeah. Basically, yeah. The information's out. Apparently they all do what they need to do. There was, I don't know, an issue with Lot 2? I don't know.
There is an issue with Lot 2. It did come in today, and I've looked at it, and I'm a little concerned. One of the things that maybe the committee could do is consider having you note that area on the lot, because if there's only one area that'll work, we would want to make sure that that area doesn't get disturbed during other activities.
You went back and Mr. Chemon, or whatever, went back to that lot and found an area that worked and did 3 diggings in it. So he did like a whole perk test, I guess, on that lot. And so I got that information, but just today.
Mm-hmm. And we did 2, but it was late, so.
Yeah. So he did 2 more? Wait a minute. Well, anyway, the point is that what he put in his note to me was they may want to put a restriction that area not get disturbed. Like
right.
You said.
Will all lots pass mound or better septic systems?
It's my understanding, yes, that's what he's telling the gentleman I hired is saying. I mean, there are single borings on all the lots except for Lot 2, and those would pass.
What about the lot where the old gravel pit was located?
Yeah, that's Lot 2, and he found an area, he went back yesterday and found an area there that would handle a septic system, but pointed out that you folks may want to say don't disturb that area, so that's for sure there's an area, if I said that right.
If additional soil tests are needed, will you be able to complete those and show that area on any final maps?
Yes.
Are any deed restrictions planned?
for those lots, when they are developed, I might have some deed restrictions, I mean, more subdivision restrictions, like things that you, setbacks, things like that, I'm not sure. Is that what, a deed restriction is different than that?
No, it would be something you would put on over and above zoning regulations or other
Yeah, I
general
mean,
regulations.
I'm not sure what the character of the subdivision should be. It's only 5 lots, but I'm just, there may be some things I want to do. I already had the Fish and Wildlife planted a prairie on parts of it, and that would need to be maintained as a prairie.
Will all driveways meet required spacing?
Yes, they would. And in fact, someone asked me to be precise about that, and I sent, there's extra pieces of paper. I don't know if you folks got them. But the nearest driveway is like 140 feet away.
Are there other similar developments or lots of similar size in the area?
Yes.
Have you reviewed the proposal with the township?
Yes. In fact, he signed the document saying that he approved it. Mr. Lewenko?
Are these lands assessed as agriculture land?
Honestly, don't know.
If so, you don't know yet, contact the assessor. Are you aware of the surveying requirements, and will you be following those requirements?
I've hired a local surveyor, Mo. I know he's doing, I guess he changed his business around, but presuming that he knows the local ordinances.
Will this require construction of a public road?
No.
Are you aware of the uniform property addresses and driveway spacings requirements?
Where the driveway spacing, I'm not aware of how to address them, but I assume I would talk to somebody in official place to find out how to do that.
If an approval is granted, when do you anticipate the final survey will be done?
Well, I guess the survey's been done. I mean, he surveyed it the new way, and then drew up the thing, and that's was part of what I handed in. So it's actually already been done, but not turned in as a document until it's approved. Yeah. But the stakes are out there, if that's what you're asking.
And you would plan on filing that paperwork as soon as possible after?
Correct. Yeah.
Questions I have?
Any other committee questions? Joe or Fred? Bob? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Correspondence?
There's no correspondence and no one registered to speak.
Staff comments, please.
For the record, the committee has previously been furnished with a copy of the site plan and all the other pertinent data for this application, except the soils. I'd like to explain a little bit about zone changes. They are a 3-step process, which starts tonight with the public hearing. They make a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Committee that goes to the full county board, and then finally it goes to the town board. And the proposal must be passed at all 3 bodies before it becomes final and effective. It is the landowner's responsibility to provide the information that shows the committee that this new zone is still in keeping with the other lots that are out there that may have the old zoning, and that the conditions that are going to be placed on it will ensure that it will be a good neighbor to the surrounding landowners. A zone change to a residential zoning designation is required by our county subdivision code when you create more than 2 parcels of less than or equal to 15 acres in size in a 10-year period. So I think Mr. Maassen alluded to that 2 parcels of less than 15 acres were created back in 2010, and this new configuration would take one of them that was more than 15 and bring it down to under 15 in a 10-year period, because it's only been 3 years. There are also 2 more parcels out there that are more than 15 acres that lie to the south. When the committee visited the property, they noted that there are other homes on smaller parcels in the area. They were also concerned about the gravel pit area presenting soil issues as it has in the past, and possibly some steep slopes for construction. We did receive the soils information today. I had talked to the soil tester earlier, and he had indicated that he couldn't find an area, so I didn't get a real good chance to look at the area that he did submit today. It was later today when I got a chance to look at it. It does look like it might pass for something that doesn't need to be state approved, but it's also a pretty small area, so it would be a really good idea to make sure that that area is defined on any certified survey map that might result as if there is an approval, and then to make sure that anyone that purchases the lot realizes this is where you got to put the septic. I also want to explain a little bit about why we asked you about whether it was zoned agricultural. I happened to look, and it says that it's taxed as productive forest land. If it was taxed as ag land, there are penalties because they've gotten a break in the taxation, and sometimes you have to pay those back. I'm not aware that you have to do that with productive forest land, but I would, again, double check with the assessor just to make sure you're not facing any penalties. And that's it for my comments.
Okay, is there anything the applicant would like to, any more that you'd like to tell us? Okay. Yeah, just hang on to him. So. Okay, that concludes our public hearing. We will now adjourn to the room next door, out here, 263, to conduct our business meeting. Those applicants may come into that room and hear our decisions.
That way?
I don't know. Nope.
He's coming, that's what he's talking at the end when he finds.
Right, you'll have to file that in our office and maybe for you, so, but probably not. We'll listen to their decision. Yep.
Get that far, you have a copy of that amended agenda?
Good lab. And I got moles. I never saw that before.
That's at the business.
Fish Lake. That is Kusel Lake.
When you were doing the adjustments with flat books? I got one from 2008. A lot newer than mine.
Ready? I'll call this meeting with Washera County Board of Adjustments to order. This meeting will be conducted in the same manner as the applications heard by the Planning and Zoning Committee. Please remember to keep your comments brief and relative to the matter at hand. The same time limits will apply to testimony, which is 5 minutes for the applicant outside of committee questions and 3 minutes for other testimony, including a rebuttal by the applicant. Anyone other than the applicant or representative wishing to speak at this hearing must have registered. Anyone who has not should do so immediately and submit the registration slip to the zoning administrator. The committee has looked at all the properties, and the record will reflect these observations. Following the public hearing, the board will conduct their monthly business meeting, in which time we will vote on the applications. You may stay and hear how the applications are decided, or you may leave following the public hearing. Any person affected by an administrative decision of this committee has 10 days from the filing of tonight's decision to file an appeal. Such appeals are heard by the Washera County Circuit Court. Information on appeals is available from the Clerk of Court's office and qualified legal counsel. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty as legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration of this 30-day period. I'm going to introduce the rest of the committee. To my left are Larry Tim, John Benz, Mark Schumacher, Kevin Fitzgerald. My name is Roger Wagner.
First variance to be considered tonight, Lois Manhart, Vesper, Wisconsin, and made an application for variance in accordance with section 58-232, paragraph 6, 58-542, paragraph C and 4, 58-826, paragraph B, and 58-903, paragraph 4, F and 4, the Washera County zoning code to construct a 28 by 54 one-story single-family dwelling on a crawl space with a 6 by 50 covered porch and a 24 by 28 attached garage, existing dwelling and all storage buildings to be raised. Coming to within 48 feet of the ordinary high water mark of Fish Lake, 75-foot setback required, and to come within 56 feet of the center line of 7th Drive, 63 feet required, and to construct a 24 by 24 boathouse coming to within 3 feet of the northerly side lot line, 7.5 foot required, and to exceed the maximum square footage allowed for a boathouse, 180 square foot size allowed in the RS-20 residential single-family zone within the shoreline area. Location lots 34 and 35 of Lindbergh Plat Resort Plot, being part of Government Lot 3, Section 18, Town of Deerfield, Fish Lake, N3971, 7th Drive. Is the applicant or representative here? Would you come forward, please?
Hi, I'm Vic. I've been asked to speak for Lois.
Okay.
Lois has prepared a variance request. Since the on-site, we have had the surveyor did a little extra work. Lois has
Okay, why don't you speak into the microphone over there?
So Lois is trying to acquire a little extra property to allow that boathouse to be put in place without that 3-foot side lot variance being required.
And that's the dotted line on here?
The dotted line offered to purchase from the town of Deerfield. Deal hasn't been finalized, but they're in favor of selling that strip of land to Lois.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add at this time? Otherwise, I have some general questions.
Seen so far.
Okay. First set of questions are going to pertain mainly to the location of the home. Has there been a recent survey out there?
That's correct. You hold it in your hand.
All the lot lines and ordinary high water mark have been identified?
Correct.
And you're sure of the road right away?
Yes.
Have you talked to the town board about this project?
Lois has spoken with the town of Deerfield, correct.
Okay. Will there be enough room for parking and a turnaround to prevent backing or parking on the town road?
Correct, yes, there should be adequate room, and even more so with the acquisition of the additional footage from the town of Deerfield.
Okay, how do you plan on dealing with erosion and stormwater runoff?
Erosion will set up a silt fence at any point of disturbing the soil for construction.
Downspouts or anything planned? You're going to have quite a bit more impervious surface there.
Okay, with regard to that, yes, gutters and downspouts would be.
How far above existing grade will the first floor elevation be?
Far above existing grade. If we went to the northeast corner, it would probably be very close to that same elevation of the northeast corner, which is the highest point of the lot. And
I
that
guess what I'm asking, you're not going to bring in a lot of fill to
No, we're
divert
gonna
water onto a neighbor or something like that, are you?
Just trying to get some natural drainage there, and there's no reason to jack that house out of the ground other than to continue some natural drainage.
So on the south side, how far out of the ground do you think the first floor would be?
On the south side, out of existing ground, top of foundation, probably 2 feet, roughly.
'Cause that would be the most. You're saying it's higher on the north,
It's
drops to the south.
The grade existing, correct, is higher on the north than on the south.
What will finished height be? Will this be a single story?
Single story, correct.
Okay. What about septic system? Are you planning on installing a new system?
Yeah, septic system, there's been a soils evaluation done, and the evaluations allow for a conventional system, and should be shown again on the drawing.
Okay, and have you done any preliminary soil work or
Yes, yeah, that's been
all
completed.
done? You considered any other options such as lining the garage and home up to increase the home setback from the lake?
I guess trying to meet the owner's request of her needs and storage, and pretty much what we come up to be reasonable.
Okay, what hardship or unique property limitations would support the variance for the home and attached garage?
Okay. A few different things that exist there. So number one is we have to consider a suitable area for the septic system. Septic system, suitable soils have been perked and they're present on the property. That kind of takes precedence on where the location of that house needs to go. Currently, too, there's a restrictive distance from Adams Columbia Electric Power Company power lines. If we were to apply for this variance with the power lines as they currently are, we'd probably ask to go another 8 to 10 feet closer to the water. Lois has bore the cost of paying Adams Columbia to relocate their lines to allow the house to come further back from the water. So she's in favor of doing the right thing and ready to make it happen. Continuing on, the home existing has a very poor condition foundation, if any, just tough shape it needs to go. You've probably seen the photographs there and the request for variance. And again, Lois is in favor of maintaining as much vegetation and not looking to open up a corridor to expose that house being seen from the lakes. And Lois likes it overgrown. If it may be, she likes the privacy and the natural look of things. Okay.
Can you describe reasons for such a large boathouse?
I'm sorry?
Can you describe the need or the reasons for such an oversized boathouse?
Lois has lake enjoyment things. She's got a pontoon boat. She has a trailer. Her son has a fishing boat. There are canoes and various things that need to be stored, and if they were stored indoors, obviously, that would be a good thing. The neighbors appreciate that.
Can you tell the board why the boathouse must be located so close to the side lot line?
Actually, in trying to avoid being close to the side lot line, as it currently is, so if you look at that survey I gave you, it faintly shows the imprint of current boathouse. So two things there. Number one is we're looking to take that boathouse and pull it back further away from the water than it currently is. And in acquiring the property to the north from the town of Deerfield, that'll allow not needing to request that side lot variance for 3 feet. We'll wind up with approximately 15.5-foot setback from the property line.
What's going to be the finished height of the boathouse?
I'm sorry?
What will be the finished height of the boathouse?
Finished height would probably be about 13 feet.
And stormwater runoff, gutters, downspouts, and that kind of thing also?
We can put gutters and downspouts on that garage to control water. You bet.
Have you considered any options such as a smaller boathouse or storing your boat and other gear at another location?
We'll have to ask Lois that question.
Okay,
If you're going to speak, I'd ask that you come up and speak in the microphone. I mean, you can. I'm not telling you not to speak, but we do need to.
Yes, I'm trying not to buy more land.
Your name first, please.
Lois Manhart, the owner.
Anything else you'd care to add at this time?
Well, I'm saying I don't want to buy extra land to build away from me, you know. When you want a life jacket, you want to go to your boathouse, right? Or the canoe, you don't want to go off location to put your canoe, you know.
Okay, what hardship and unique property limitation would support this larger boathouse?
What was that again? I'm sorry.
What is the hardship that you need to have this larger boathouse? I mean, you know, we've got boathouses all over the county, and this would be one of the larger ones.
Right, but to put a pontoon, to store a pontoon inside, you're paying good money for the pontoon. I'd like to store it for the winter in my own boathouse. Then with the canoes or another fishing boat, or, you know.
So the hardship would be financial, then you're saying?
Inconvenience too, right? That's not an option.
Well, the one question I had with this new survey map here is it seems to me that with the additional land that you're going to purchase from the township, you could expand the size of your proposed attached garage, and maybe you could put some of the stuff in there, and then it wouldn't necessitate such a big boathouse. Because in your request here, you said the door isn't going to face the water anyway. It's going to face the road, correct, on the boathouse? And so if you added a larger attached garage, you could put some of those things in there and a few less in the boathouse, and you wouldn't even need a variance for a boathouse. You could just build a smaller boathouse and put whatever doesn't fit in your garage. Because you're going to have way over 30, 45 feet to that new property line, and that would allow you a larger garage and a smaller boathouse.
We want to try to hide it into the trees.
Sure.
Well, it would be like another bay on a garage. It would be like you could have another big door going in, and
And add another 24 feet out?
I think you could.
Well, whatever would fit with the required setbacks, you'd have to keep 15 feet from that lot line, that new lot line.
They would.
But I'm thinking maybe I can't meet the setback to the road if I go north.
Well, if you take that 10-foot bump out and pushed it back towards the lake, then you wouldn't have to worry about the road either.
Well, to me, according to the survey, it looks like that proposed garage is awful close to parallel with the road. That you could expand it, the size of the garage to the north and not infringe.
Yeah, but then I'm going to get here, right?
That makes sense. Thank you for this conversation.
See, a boathouse is 180 square feet, and you're at, with what you're proposing, I think is 514 square feet. Or whatever it is, but I mean, it's almost 3 times the size of what they approved for boathouses here.
And I guess the drawing that we're looking at today that was done by the surveyor, Lois and the surveyor walked this area today. As Lois had flagged it out, the surveyor was out this morning and put Lois's wishes on paper, and this is what she's proposing to buy from the town of Deerfield. So really, this is the first time today that all of us have seen this work.
Okay, I'm thinking, though, if I want to back a pontoon into the boathouse that's parallel to the garage, I can't make the turn, probably.
Well, what, Lois, if we had another, and this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but then
What
I
if we
gotta
had another,
bear all this, which the town don't want me to take much away.
I think what Lois is saying is there's a lot of natural growth there that she's kind of looking to keep as a buffer between the structure and the property.
Yeah, but the,
Are you going to keep the driveway in the same location it is now?
Correct. So if I keep the driveway that way and bring the boat, it's the turn, I don't think I can make the turn to get into the boathouse.
Or one of your sons back it in or something.
I'll take my backing.
I know.
Put the door on this side, and it came in this way.
There's-
And then I have to clear
trees
the
in there.
land, the tree, the brush. That's what the town doesn't want me to do. I mean, even to put the boathouse in there, they're gonna take away a lot of brush, but I will replant to make it secluded in there.
Other alternative is we could approve it without that boathouse, and at a later date, you could come back for a variance. But, 180 square feet versus over 500 is, we don't want to set a precedent. Because if you get a 24 by 24, pretty soon there's going to be somebody else on that lake that's going to want one the same size. And boathouses usually have a door facing the water, and it's for a canoe and your life jackets, et cetera. Not for,
But years ago, we had wind boats and used to roll them up the beach and put them in the boathouse.
sure.
Now you pull them out the boat landing and come around. You don't pull it up the beach anymore. And I don't
Realize
think
that.
there's too many on that lake could put a boathouse because of the hills. So I don't think anybody can say they want one because,
But we're thinking countywide also, not just over by you guys. Countywide, 180 square feet is what is normally approved. And this
because I'm so restricted with that lot.
We realize that.
So that's why I was
But you're
offering.
not so restrictive by picking up this piece of property as you were before.
I went to the town and they.
I
had
understand
agreed.
that. But you were really restricted before, but if you
Oh,
purchase
yeah.
this, then you're not, then it's not as bad as it was.
Right,
It's much better.
yes.
I don't have any other questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Anybody else got any more questions, or? Okay, thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Any correspondence on the applicant?
Yes, I have a note that Amy spoke with Tom Whaley, chairman of the town of Deerfield, today, and the township has no objections to the Lois Manhart variance for construction of the home within 48 feet of the ordinary high water mark of Fish Lake and 56 feet from the center line of 7th Drive, and to construct an oversized boathouse to within 3 feet of the side lot line, which borders the public landing owned by the township. The township has also agreed to sell Lois property from the public landing if it will help to accommodate the oversized boathouse. And that was Amy that talked to Tom Whaley today. And then Lois had sent letters to the Fish Lake Management Association chairperson, and he writes, "The Lake District has no concerns with this project and in fact view the installation of an updated septic system as a positive improvement with respect to water quality." And that's signed Carl Marola, chair of the Fish Lake Management Association, MEROLA. And then she sent a similar letter to the next door neighbor, who is Esther Kurer, Kurer. And she wrote, "I'm looking forward to having Lois move next door. I don't have any concerns about the variance." Again, that was Esther Kurer, something like that. And then today we received an email from the DNR, and it's addressed to me, Terry. "I'm writing to provide comments regarding the Manhart property and Marshall's Summer Place LLC variance requests that are to be heard before the Waushara County Board of Adjustments Thursday, September 19th, 2013. Thank you for your time and assistance in discussing these requests and for providing me with application materials. I am providing these comments in place of making an appearance in person. Please have them delivered to and/or read before the Board of Adjustments." And regarding the Manhart application, it says, "The department understands the following. The existing cottage is a non-conforming principal structure as it lies approximately 60 feet from the ordinary high water mark within the 75-foot ordinary high water mark setback of Section 58-826, Parent C of the Waushara County Zoning Code. The applicant proposes to remove the existing non-conforming cottage and build a house that is approximately 3 to 4 times as large, is closer to the ordinary high water mark, as close as approximately 54 feet, includes an attached porch that runs along almost the entire lake-facing side of the home, and is another 6 feet closer to the ordinary high water mark, and has an attached garage that is approximately the size of the existing cottage and also lies within the ordinary high water mark setback, approximately 64 feet. The proposed house would be 1,528 square feet in area, and the proposed garage would be 672 square feet. A drain field for a new septic system that would replace the existing system is proposed to be located between the proposed house and the road. Due to road and ordinary high water mark setbacks, the area on the lot that is conforming is relatively narrow but long. At the wider southern end, there is approximately 750 square feet of conforming area, with plenty more conforming area taping narrower to the north. The applicant proposes to construct a boathouse that is greater than 3 times the area allowed under Section 58-903, Parents 4, Parents F, Parents 4, which is 576 square feet versus 180 square feet, and does not meet the side lot setback requirements under Section 58-232, Parent 6. The department recommends the Board of Adjustment address these requests separately, one for the proposed house and the other for the proposed boathouse. Regarding the proposed boathouse request, at issue with this request is determining what is reasonable use of the property. More specific to this request is what is a reasonable size of the house, not in general, but on this particular lot. What is appropriate development on one lot is not necessarily appropriate development on another lot. The Waushara County Zoning Code provides options that would allow reconstruction of the existing cottage and significantly expanding it, more than doubling its size, according to Section 58-235, Parents B, Parents 3 through 4, with mitigation but without need for a variance. Thus, the ordinance allows for very reasonable use of the property. Additionally, the applicant's proposal appears to make no attempt to meet the ordinary high water mark setback, nor use the existing shoreline zoning provisions in the Waushara County Zoning Code. Finally, a variance is to be granted for the minimal relief necessary for reasonable use of the property. Given the comments above, the applicant's request is far from minimal relief. At the very least, given the slanting shape of the conforming area available on the property, the vast majority of the reconstruction and expansion could meet the requirements of Section 58-235, Parents 3B, 3 and 4, with a variance to some aspect of those requirements to better accommodate some small portion of a revised reconstruction and expansion request, such as to better accommodate an attached garage. In no event is it necessary for any portion of the reconstruction and expansion to be any closer to the lake than the existing cottage sits now. In addition to the above requirements, the department does not believe the applicant has demonstrated the request meets all criteria required for granting a variance. Specifically, the department believes the applicant has not demonstrated unnecessary hardship nor a unique property limitation. As noted, the request does not appear to consider other compliant locations on the property as required to meet the variance criteria or offer explanations demonstrate how the allowed options in the Waushara County Zoning Code are unreasonable. Further, the explanation provided in the application is a circumstance of the applicant, as in the Waushara County variance application, which says perceived need for a larger garage or home, not to be considered for granting a variance. It should also be noted that the third explanation listed in the application under unique property limitations should not be considered as a factor. The ordinary high water mark is established as a mark to where water levels have historically been. Just because lake levels may be low at this time should not have any influence on a decision, because the ordinary high water mark is the long-standing and established legal benchmark that is to be considered for setbacks. Finally, the department would argue that not assuring the options for reconstruction and expansion in your ordinance are appropriately used. At this relatively early stage of implementation, sends the wrong message to the public and is not protecting the public interest. For all of these reasons, the department believes there is nothing to support the variance request and thus strongly recommends it be denied. Regarding the proposed boathouse request, Section 58-903 F4 allows for a boathouse of 180 square feet in size. A variance is to be granted for the minimal relief necessary for reasonable use of the property. The fact that the applicant's request is for a boathouse that is greater than 3 times the allowed size indicates the request is far from minimal relief. In addition to the above requirements, the department does not believe the applicant has demonstrated the request meets all criteria required for granting a variance. Specifically, none of the explanations provided in the application are in regard to the boathouse variance request. Thus, no demonstration of any of the required variance criteria has been made. For all of these reasons, the department believes there is nothing to support the variance request, and thus recommends it be denied. Please note that these comments are in regard to shoreland zoning only and do not reflect applicable erosion control, waterway permitting, or other department regulations. Thank you for the opportunity to provide comments regarding the Manhart property and Marshall Summer Place LLC variance request. Please contact me with any questions regarding this email, and that's signed Michael Wenholtz, Department of Natural Resources.
Harry, based on the volume of that letter, do you know, do DNR people get paid by the hour or the word?
I don't know that.
Seriously, it was the DNR, do you know, was he out on the property?
No, he looked at this, and he's looking at the new NR 115.
Based on the application, but he wasn't on the property?
No. And
Okay.
He hasn't seen the last survey.
because there is reconstruction, there's that section that you can reconstruct. When you're more than 35 feet, you can add a second story. You know, he's looking at all of those options in the code for the existing cottage. I didn't have time, this also came this afternoon, and I didn't have time to look all those up, but I know that's what he's talking about, is that there are ways, but it would be a much smaller home. Because what's there now is quite small.
Any more correspondence?
No, that's it for correspondence.
Anyone registered speak in favor?
Yes.
Richard Manhart?
My name is Richard Manhart. I'm the applicant's son, and we've been down in this lake since 1934, and we've got an investment in Washington County. We've been here a long, long time. We're trying to make an investment for the next 80 years, like we've done for the past 80 years. The footprint, we've tried to get the best with the surveyors we could out there to find out the best possible course with the septic system and all the things that's going on out there. When most of these laws, when homes went in back in 1934, they weren't there. You know, so probably at that time we should have built a 1,500 square foot home right next to the lake. We probably would have got it in. But I know we're trying to get something in there now, and it's a hard thing to do. We've been paying high taxes on a cottage that hasn't been very good. We're looking to upgrade the septic, the land, the whole thing, and make the whole area better than what it is right now. The way it is now, it'll only stay bad and probably get worse down the road. There's been a lot of time invested in this one. We've done the power lines over us, trying to get the lines back so we could pull it back even further. Getting the septic people out there, getting all the things ahead of time. And there was a DNR person on site. The person that did that one, I don't know, but we had one from Oshkosh come over there and actually come on site and look at it. So there has been somebody on site trying to work with all the different agencies, all the different things that are going on. As far as the big boathouse, I could see that's probably going to be the biggest challenge that we have right here. And trying to back a boat in there with a big trailer and stuff is hard, and trying to get it longer, and that's why we looked at it to get a little further forward. Trying to make that tight swing around the trees and everything in there, that was the reason why we looked at it good as far as we did. Definitely in favor for it, because I want to be there the rest of my life and my kids. I have the next generation coming. So hopefully with your help that we can accomplish this. Thank you.
No one else registered. Staff comments?
For the record, the board has previously been furnished with a copy of the site plan and all the other pertinent data for this application and the others that they are going to consider tonight. They also visited all the properties and viewed the proposals on site so they could see the site conditions. I'd like to explain a little bit about variances. Variances ask for relaxation of a dimensional standard in the code. We're asking for water setback, road setback, and side yard setback on the boathouse, which may or may not be needed depending on how the land purchase goes, and then the size of the boathouse. So there's 4 dimensional standards that the board needs to look at. The decision to grant a variance must be backed by substantive reasons, and these include unnecessary hardship is being caused by the code requirement. There are unique limitations on the property that prevent the landowner from meeting the required dimensional standards, and if the variance is granted, no harm will be done to the public interest or the zoning code. It is the applicant's responsibility to present the case and provide the burden of proof as to why the variance should be granted. The personal situation of the applicant, financial hardship, nearby violations, convenience, all of those things cannot be considered as valid reasons to grant a variance. The statutes also state, as Mr. Wenholtz did state in his letter, that a minimal relaxation of the code should be granted. You don't just grant the maximum, you have to grant the minimum in order to have reasonable use and make the code seem reasonable for that property. When the board visited the property, they noted that all structures currently on the property are proposed to be removed. There is good tree cover already. There was lots of trees. There is room for a compliant boathouse without the need for a variance if the landowner would choose to do that, and that the 10-foot offset of the home from the attached garage appears to be for convenience rather than a necessity. As far as my comments go, I think the board does need to look closely at the standards. They need to look at the unique property limitations that prevent the property owner from using the property for a permitted use. A boathouse can be constructed here without the need for a variance. So, you know, that is a permitted use that could be done. And that the relaxation be the minimum required to allow the property owner reasonable use. Some lots just aren't meant to have really big houses on them, which is what I think Mr. Wenholtz could have stated more succinctly than he did. But that's kind of what it boils down to, is you need to look at the lot you have, how much room do you have, and what's going to fit. So that's it for my comments.
Does the applicant have anything in rebuttal?
You've been down there and you've seen the high water mark where it's at, right? And you see where the lake is, right? Now, and the high water mark, they're comparing it to 1934, when the lake and the pond were connected. How many people were there and how many high-capacity wells were there? Now you're comparing apples and oranges. I don't see that lake ever coming up to those rocks again unless we had a monsoon and all the high capacities shut down. So they're worried about high water, but I'm so far from the lake as it is. So I guess I don't question why they question that, because I'm far away.
Goes in cycles.
Pardon?
It all goes in cycles, and some year, 100 years down the line.
Have you seen how many high-capacity wells are in Central?
Don't know. We're not here to debate that, but,
okay.
but all those lakes rise and fall in cycles. So
I've been there through the cycle, but it's been down. It's really down. It's not coming back.
I had one more question I forgot to ask. We know there's going to be an upgraded septic system. Is there going to be a new well too?
Yes.
I kind of thought so, but
I think the
wasn't
whole
sure.
thing is an improvement. If she's
yeah.
saying fix up the old cottage,
no.
didn't it sound like that to you?
That's what it sounded like.
And I thought, to me, and I go 2 stories. I'm getting older. I don't want to go 2 stories. I want to stay on one. So
Okay.
I guess that's my
Thank you.
rebuttal.
Thank you. Next variance to be considered, Marshall's Summer Place LLC, Watoma, Wisconsin. Okay.
Taking a few minute break. Right, they could go right on the end. And as far as this goes, put 2 doors on. Yeah, then you'd have one. There you go. There you go. Probably cheaper. cheaper to put doors in than put siding in. She probably baked them cookies.
Do you determine when you do setbacks, you set the new map there? You know, the platted road?
Yeah, but the center line is closer. It was only
Road's going
20,
a lot closer than
yeah, so we gotta go to the center line. But if it was only 24, it might meet it. You know what I mean?
So the road right away actually goes right over her property. Oh, like last time that they bought some property from the highway department. Point. I'm sorry. Cheese at the cops.
Oh, Jesus.
You don't have to call him Jesus.
So he's gotta be in my good behavior now.
We have 2 more to go through.
Thank you. Marshall Summer Place LLC, Watoma, Wisconsin, made an application for variance in accordance with section 58-235, paragraph A, paragraph 5 of the Washera County zoning code to construct a 18 by 24 single-story addition with a 4 by 7 outside shower and a 12 by 24 deck, existing 10 by 24 porch and 16 by 24 deck to be raised, exceeding 25% of the expansion allowed to an existing non-conforming single-family dwelling, non-conforming due to side lot and road setback in the RS-20 residential single-family zone within the shoreline area. Location, a parcel of land known as Lot 1 of Certified Survey Map 3031, being part of Government Lot 4 and part of the northwest 1 quarter, the southwest 1 quarter, Section 6, Town of Marion, N2176, State Road 73. Would the applicant come forward, please?
James Marshall, representing the Marshall family on the location you just described.
Okay. Anything to add at this time, Jim?
We're asking for a variance. Actually, the deck that we want to put on is a 12-foot deck. The current deck is 16, so actually the deck is going to be smaller than we've got now. But the porch would be larger. We have a 10-foot porch right now. We're asking for a variance of roughly 5.5 feet more greater toward the lake. We've talked to our neighbors on both sides, and even with the addition and the new deck, we are still 3 feet further back from the water line, the high water mark, than either one of our neighbors on either side. Both of the 3 houses that flank us are all anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000 square feet, so they're beautiful houses on both sides of us. And even with the addition, we would still be the smallest house of the four houses. But I think both of our neighbors are very much in favor of it to improve the value of our cottage, which in turn would improve their value. We did check with the DNR, and we are 75 feet back from the high water mark.
Okay. Just a few general questions then for the record. Has there been a recent survey, or are all the lot lines located?
Yes, I believe the survey's been submitted to the town.
Okay. Are you sure of the right-of-way? Where the right-of-way for the road is?
Are we sure of the right-of-way?
Where the legal right-of-way for the road is?
State highway.
Yeah, we've looked at that. But the porch, the porch that we're looking at is
I know that, but
toward
it's-
the lake, not toward the road.
The map we have looks like it was drawn by the proposed builder or the designer or something like that. We don't-
Yeah, but
we
there
don't-
should be, there was a survey that was submitted. Dave, did you submit a survey? There should be a survey there. You don't? Let me see my file.
There's a survey from 1994. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Not
And
a
then the
recent
addition was
survey.
drawn on that survey, I believe.
No, that was drawn on a sketch by the builder, but, so there's a survey from 1994. Do you know where all those stakes are? You can still find all those stakes.
Yes.
That's kind of what they want to know.
Yeah, this is, this right here is a survey, but we have a more complete survey if you need one.
And that was done in 94,
That survey, I believe so, yes.
1994?
That's the one I have.
Okay. Have you talked to the township and the state DOT about the project?
We have not.
How do you plan on dealing with the potential erosion and stormwater runoff?
Well, we would put eave troughs in, and we could drive the sewer runoff into the. We have sewer around the lake. We could drive some of that water into the sewer if we need to. There's never really been an issue with runoff with our lot. It's full of sand, and there's really very, very, very seldom standing water. We've owned the place for 40 years.
What type of foundation will this deck in addition be on?
The porch would be a footing and a crawl space, and the deck would be on pilings below the frost line, concrete pilings.
You're going to stay at existing grade then, I take it, right?
Yes, yes.
And finished height will be the same as
The finished height will be about what it is now. It's the peak of that porch is about 13 and a half feet.
Okay. Can you explain the outside shower and what your plans are for that?
The outside shower is to allow anybody using the lake to be able to take a shower without having to go into our building. And we've checked with the neighbor, the Carroll's family that would be adjacent to that, and they have no issues with that outside shower.
It'll be totally enclosed and provide hot water?
Yes.
And what's going to happen with the runoff from the shower?
That runoff is going to go into the septic. There will be no runoff into the lot itself. We're going to pipe it into the septic system.
Sewer system.
Sewer system.
Have you checked with Silver Lake Sanitary District and that's permissible to do that?
Our plumber said that it shouldn't be an issue, that there are about 4 or 5 outside showers at Silver Lake. And apparently that's been done before, but we can certainly do that.
Any other improvements planned at this time?
In addition to that, we want to put on new siding. We put a new roof on the cottage, and in conjunction with the new porch and new deck, we wanted to put on new siding.
You'll tie it all together?
Tie it all together, do it all at once.
All other setbacks will be met?
Yes.
And you are connected to municipal sewer, as you said?
Yes. The blessing on Silver Lake.
What about parking? Even when the property's rented, is parking a problem there?
Parking has not been a problem, and if it is, we don't allow those parties on the property. And actually, our neighbors have been very pleased with our building this summer.
We've heard reports of 10 to 12 cars parked on the road.
If there were, we have asked that tenant not to renew for next year. We've had our neighbors police that, and if there's an issue, we will not allow them back because we don't want to overpopulate the place. That's for sure.
Is there enough area there for turnarounds so cars don't have to back out onto the highway?
Yes.
Do they use it?
All the time. Yeah.
It's illegal to back out onto a state highway.
Say again?
It's illegal.
No, but I mean, there's enough room to turn, so you don't have to back out. Did I answer your question correctly?
Do they back in next to that back porch? Is that?
Yes. Yes. That's why that back porch is there. Yes.
Have you considered any other options out there for this property?
Not really. It's just that, as our neighbors said, they said, we know if you do a remodel, you're going to do it right, and we want to do it right and provide a lot of quality and improve the surrounding area, including the 3 houses next to us.
Have you ever considered removing the retaining wall on the lake side of the property and revegetating the shoreline?
No. No, that wall has been there for 35 years, long time.
What hardship and unique property limitations would support this variance?
Well, we have 6 owners that own it. Our family is growing, and if we're going to do an addition, we wanted to make it large enough, sufficient to hold our family. But I think in addition to that, it complies more with our neighboring properties. I mean, the neighboring properties are some pretty good sized houses, and I think it enhances the value of their houses by our house being more comparable to theirs. And even with our addition, we're not near the size that they are. I mean, even with the addition, we're probably about 1,800 square feet, and they're probably closer to 2,500 square feet.
So, simply, could you tell us what the hardship is, or why this is unique that we should be granting this variance?
Well, the hardship is just a need for more space for our family, for a family room, and also I think the quality of the porch that's there right now. The porch is on pilings, the deck is on block. The porch is actually the current porch is on not even on pilings. The current porch is on block, and the porch is got to be 60, 70 years old. It just is in really rough shape, and if we're going to replace the porch, we wanted to do it right, but still stay behind the setback of both of our neighbors. I mean, when you stand at the edge of the deck, of the new deck, we are still 3 feet back from either side of our neighbor. So we're not asking to be beyond either one of our neighbors. We're still further away from the water than either one of our neighbors are.
So the hardship is just to repair the
Actually,
deteriorating building?
the porch needs to be replaced. It's really run down. It's dilapidated. It needs to be replaced. And if we're going to replace it, we wanted to replace it with a room that's large enough to accommodate our family without going beyond what either one of our neighbors are on either side. And both of our neighbors are very much in favor of this on either side. We've talked to them. If they weren't, they would be here tonight.
The retaining wall is a non-conforming structure, is that correct?
That's correct.
You're going to elaborate on that later?
Sure.
Any other committee questions?
I have a couple. I just wanted to make sure, you said that the survey from 1994, you're aware of all the property stakes from that survey?
Yes.
And then you stated that you meet the 75-foot setback from the water in your opening statement, but your site plan shows the proposed deck at 56 feet and the proposed addition porch at 68 feet. I think maybe what you meant is that you comply with the average setback rather than the 75 feet, correct?
We comply with the average setback, but according to where that high water mark is, I thought that we even complied with the 75.
Well, your site plan that you submitted shows the proposed deck at 56 feet to the ordinary high water mark and 68 feet for the addition. Okay. Just for the record.
Okay, yeah, okay, then it would be certainly the average.
But you meet the average, and that's the
Yes.
important thing.
Yes.
And then the final question I had is on this drawing here, which is your foundation.
Yes.
There's these bump outs, I call them,
Mm-hmm.
that go closer to the lot line than what the addition is, and I don't know what those are.
It's just a single step. It's a step,
Those
one
are
step down.
We kind of maybe thought that.
Yeah.
But
That's-
I wanted to make sure it wasn't a structure or
No,
something.
it's just a step.
Just a step. Okay,
It's an 18-inch step.
gotcha. Thank you.
Any other committee questions?
Might be getting a little ahead of myself, but you mentioned that your neighbors were all in favor of this. Did we get any communications from the neighbors?
No, we did not.
Yeah, our neighbor is Jeff and Jay Carroll to our west, and it's Chester Wirchenfenny on the east side. And we've had numerous conversations about this remodel probably for the last 5 years, and we're finally getting around to doing it.
Carol's is the place that's for sale?
Yes. Yes.
The other neighbor asked us about the shower when we were there, that he was worried that there'd be water running in his yard. But
Yeah,
you-
no,
but you've answered that
yeah,
question.
it's going to drain directly into the sewer.
That he approached us on that.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't want that either. Having a drain all over the place. That wouldn't be
Okay.
good.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you. Correspondence?
We have a letter, as I said before, from DNR addressed to me. I'll dispense with the niceties that started out to get to the point. Regarding Marshall's Summer Place LLC, the proposed work is outside the ordinary high water mark setback. If the Board of Adjustments finds the applicant has demonstrated meeting all three required variance criteria, the department's only comment is to recommend the following mitigation be included as a condition of the granted variance. Remove the retaining wall parallel to the lake and replace it with native vegetation. This is appropriate given the increase in area and impervious surface associated with the proposed request. Please note that these comments are in regard to shoreline zoning only and do not reflect applicable erosion control, waterway permitting, or other department regulations. And again, that's from Mike Wenholtz, Department of Natural Resources. No comments and no one else registered.
Staff comments?
For the record, the board has again been furnished with a copy of the site plan and the data that was submitted. They also visited the property. We have to remember that variances ask for a relaxation of a dimensional standard in the code, and the decision to grant that variance must be backed by those substantive reasons listed even in the state statutes. There must be an unnecessary hardship is being caused by the code requirement. There are unique limitations on the property that prevent the landowner from meeting the required dimensional standards, and if the variance is granted, no harm will be done to the public interest or the zoning code. It is the applicant's responsibility to present the case and provide the burden of proof. Personal situations of the applicant, financial hardship, growing families, nearby homes really aren't considered as valid reasons to grant a variance. When the board visited the property, they noted that the amount of impervious surface would increase. They noted the retaining wall near the shoreline is showing some signs of erosion, and its placement does not appear to be necessary to stabilize the shoreline or the slope. They noted that parking appears to be an issue. Maybe it's becoming better, but in the past it has been noted, especially when the property is used as a rental. And they also noted that there's a small deck on the road side of the property that would be another non-conforming structure. I have a couple of technical comments too. Clear water going into a municipal sewer system is not permitted. You will not be permitted to run your gutters and downspouts into the sewer system. I really don't know about an outside shower. I can't comment on that. Most of the ones I'm aware of are basically kind of hooked to a garden hose, and they're cold, and there's no walls, so people aren't really showering. They're rinsing off from the lake. So this would probably be the first one I'm aware of that would really be a true shower, and I'm not sure what the regulations are on that. Obviously, whenever there is wastewater generated like that, it does need to be put into the proper receptacles or system to have it treated. So the sewer system would be appropriate. Again, I have no idea if that's permitted or not. I would also like to comment that although the home is further from the lake than the neighbors, it is closer to the road, and that's one of the reasons that it's non-conforming. And the other non-conforming factor of the home is that it's too close to the side lot line. And I think, again, you know, we have to look at a minimal relaxation. I'm not sure that anyone has great heartburn about this small of an addition, you know, and it meets the setbacks and it's not going any closer to the side lot line, but it's certainly within the board's purview to try to put conditions on it that would make it less visible from the lake. It's going to go closer even than the old one. You know, it's written into our code that they can do that, and I think, you know, based on some of the comments by DNR, I don't always agree with them, but in this case, I think, you know, it is something that should at least be considered if you do consider an approval. And that's it for my comments. Can I answer all your questions?
Pretty much. Applicant have anything in rebuttal? Okay. Next variance to be considered, Central States Tower 2 LLC, Wheaton, Illinois. Campbell Tree and Land Company Incorporated landowner has made an application for a variance in accordance with sections 58-828, paragraph B, paragraph 2, and paragraph B of the Waushara County Zoning Code to establish a second driveway access onto County Road O, a Class B highway, allowing an existing access to remain on State Highway 73, a Class A highway. Zoning code requires access to be on highways with lesser classification only. On the existing parcel in the AG 10, General Agricultural 10-acre minimum zone, location an approximate 38.57 acre parcel of land, being part of the northwest one quarter, the northeast one quarter, Section 6, Town of Wautoma, State Road 73 and County Road O. The applicant come forward, please.
Hello.
Hello.
Ronald Zuckel again for Central States Tower. Again, we presented this case for this conditional use, and I think how this came about was we originally applied for a variance and a conditional use at the same time. The variance was for the setback issue, and we were thinking about it at the time picking it up on the driveway. However, apparently when we moved, we adjusted the tower over, we took the variance out, and I think this secondary driveway came back to as an issue because of the unique parcel that it fronts two highways. Obviously,
just for the record, I didn't get your name.
Ronald Zuckel, Z-E-C-H-E-L. Agent for Central States and Campbell and Verizon also. So what we're presenting is just to pick up that the original plan that we presented was this plan with the driveway to O for the access for the tower. It meets all the criteria of the county highway. That's why they gave us a temporary permit on it, so the setbacks, et cetera. And the issue is that secondary driveway, which isn't much on Highway 73, they rent it is a large 38 acre parcel. They rent it out for farming. And obviously, there's issues trying to get, farm equipment to come in from, we'd have to bring the farm equipment all the way over to Ole to get it in and so forth. And they hate to give up the access the access presents a hardship, if you close it up from 73. So that's why the request for the secondary driveway part. And I can go into more detail if you have questions or whatever as we go forward.
Okay, just a few general questions. Has there been a recent survey out there?
Yes.
You're sure of the road right-of-ways?
Correct.
You talked to the County Highway Department and the State DOT about this variance?
Yes.
The current driveway on 73 is proposed to remain and used for agricultural purposes only, correct?
That's correct.
New driveway on County Road O would be used to access the tower in the northeast corner only? Okay.
Could the farmers use it?
Yes. It's built.
Both?
Yeah, it's built, we built it wide enough for, according to your standards, so it could be accessible if they had to come in from both directions with their combines and so forth.
But you're gonna restrict access to the tower, I'm assuming with some sort of chain links fence?
Yeah,
gate,
we sure can with an access gate if we have to, or a chain link or whatever. Again, it's a limited access only. I mean, we don't use it for much. We're only in there once a month.
It's the self-supported tower, no guy wires, correct?
Did the Highway Department indicate if a culvert was needed?
Yes, and it's noted on the plans.
Okay. Enough room for parking equipment near the tower site, and you won't be backing out onto the highway?
No.
I guess you went over the hardships and the unique property limitations. Any other committee questions?
And I'm assuming that if this is similar with other towers that we're familiar with, that after the construction, the daily or the usage is minimal, it's monitored remotely?
Well, once a month, it's there for emergency, really. Once a month, you're going to see a van in there or whatever, and that's it. So it shuts down. Once the construction's over, it shuts down.
That's what I assume.
You noted that the culvert is in the plans, but there's no culvert there now.
Okay, I think they were waiting on, because we've got a temporary, they're going to put the permanent in according to what is issued.
Okay.
Have you considered other options?
There really isn't a lot of options here. Obviously, you've got such a wide you got a unique parcel, 38, and it's unique to have two highways that abuts your parcel. That's really a unique factor here. And obviously, we looked at, with the landowner, a possibility of trying to close that one. You'd be bringing farm equipment all the way. You don't want farm equipment on Highway 73. You want it off the thing there. The other issue is potentially, you could look at a long-term split, as we talked about, but it's premature at this stage. You don't know what you're going to do here at this potential or whatever, so it's a premature position, and this is a variance. It should be the way to go.
Did get split the property off, like with 1 acre for the tower site. You wouldn't need this kind of...
You don't know. You don't. It's really that's a tough position to create a split for a position. Where do you split? To split the property in half. What happens later on if you have to split it again? There's too many issues hardships that relate to that issue. When you have an access that's sitting there that should be able to solve the issue.
I should probably point out this property is zone AG10, so the minimum parcel size would be 10 acres.
Oh.
They would have to split off 10 acres.
Be a mess.
In order to make a split.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I was looking at the zoning map and I didn't see that on the map.
Yeah, that's the wetland and floodplain one.
Oh.
It's the one before with the little grassy things on it.
Little
or whatever it is.
asterisks all over it. Oh, there, yeah, I see that now.
And obviously, you're not going to connect the tower to the 73 access because you're going
Yep.
to mess up the property. So.
Okay, thank you. Any correspondence on this one?
We did exchange some emails with DOT, and there was some confusion. I think the last one that Kelly Nicholas from DOT sent probably explains it the best, and it's addressed to me. Terry, as I stated below, yes, the driveway on Wisconsin 73 can remain. I have no justification, such as a safety issue, to remove the driveway at this time. It is permitted even though it has access off of County O at the time the permit was issued. Hopefully this makes sense. If not, please call. And that's signed Kelly. Kelly Nicholas, Nicolaus of DOT.
Is there a uniform property address
There,
assigned?
there has been one assigned. It may not be up there yet, but it has been assigned.
No one else registered, staff comments?
Another variance, a little different this time, because we're talking about locating a driveway, a second one, and our code also requires that all driveways come off from the lesser traveled road, so that's the leaving the one on State Road 73. When the board visited the property, they noted that there are no safety issues with either driveway location, and that an approval could improve safety on the state road by reducing traffic at that entrance and diverting it to the one off from County Road O. And I really have no comments on this one.
Okay. Applicant have anything in rebuttal? Okay. That closes the public hearing for the Board of Adjustments. We will go right into our business meeting. Call the meeting in order. Roll call show everyone present.